4. There we go. 4. 4 is Thor. Hey, 4 is Thor. Wow, man. Wow, that was deep, man. Very deep. Whoa. Should hear something. Oh. Hey, this is Brian from Logic Pro Hacks. How's it going? Well, it's another day. Well, still the same day. I'm still in the same shirt as I did the last video, I guess. Well, do 2 videos in one day. I'm on a roll. Anyways, it's still not a new year yet, and I figured I'd break out another video. And this is a special request. Basically ask the question, how come my MIDI's so messed up in Reason? A two-way street with Reason sometimes. Reason deals with MIDI. It just does it differently than a normal DAW. And I'll go in and I'll explain things later. And it's still ambiguous is probably the best word to describe Reason's MIDI. Oh yeah, by the way, I want to go ahead and say a shout out to a new venture that I'm starting this year, and that is offering custom cloud solutions for musicians. Basically, are you tired of using Dropbox? Are you tired of using Google Drive and all these different things? Cloud server for you, and it's private, it's secure, it's encrypted, and you have your own logo, everything you need, and the space that you need. Just give me a shout out through email. I'm at admin@logicprohacks.com, and just say, hey, I'm interested in this cloud solution. I can get it down to about $40 a month in hosting, and you have your own cloud server. All right, so the problem that happens is the way the MIDI works is it doesn't really split up that well, and you can't put say I want to do MIDI channel 1 for this one and MIDI channel 2 for this other piano. And a lot of times when you get in there, it's like, oh shoot, I can't really do that. I gotta switch in between different tracks and do that. Well, the answer here is pretty easy. Well, sort of, kind of. And how you do that is there's a guy over here. His name is Kashadukai, if I could say his name right. Call him Kashi or Kosh. And he is a huge Reason power user, probably a power genius is what I would call it. He created this system here where he made this MIDI map system to where you can actually isolate each instrument by its own channel. And how you do that is you just download a thing that's called Codecs and Maps, and he has the download link. I believe it's somewhere on his page. I'll put the links up here. And yeah, here's the download links, and you download it. It comes as a zip file, and you just extract it with something like 7-zip or whatever, and it comes with these 2 files right here. You got codecs and Lua codecs and other, and those things come in there. And then you have the maps, and that has other, and it has all these different MIDI remote map configurations. Now what you do is you go into your Propellerhead software directory, and that is under C. If you're on Windows 7 or Windows 10, it's going to be in your ProgramData directory in your Propellerhead software. And you go in here and you go into this thing called Remote. And then here you can see 2 things called Codecs and Maps, and that's where you're going to place them. So like the first one was the codecs, and the codecs basically go into other. So what you want to do is just kind of, I believe it was in Lua codecs, and you go in here other, and that's where you're going to place them. And then on the maps, you're going to see, all these different things. So you can see one right here called other, and that's where you're going to place those generic MIDI controller things. Once you copy them in there, you're done. You're going to have to restart Reason. And I'm not sure if you have to restart your computer or not. I can't remember if you had to do that, but I'm like me, I always leave my computer on, but I don't recall that part. But if you have trouble with it not working, just restart your computer. One more thing that you got to do here, and that is you want to go into your edit and make preferences. And this will also work on a Mac too. So if you're on a Mac, I believe it will. Sort of recall doing this on the Mac side. Don't count me on that. You just go into, where is it? Control surfaces. And you have to basically add each one manually. So you go in, you just go other, and just pick. You'll see these come up. They'll come up with a generic controller, blah, blah, blah. You can just say, all right, this is going to be MIDI 1. And then you go into your MIDI port and you select what MIDI port you're going to do. This is usually your MIDI port is going to be the, whatever you have connected as MIDI, your keyboard MIDI or whatever it is, your controller. And you can do this with multiple controllers, multiple different things too. It doesn't have to be just one set. You could actually do many variations of this. And the only thing you really have to do is just pick your import, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and cancel all of that. And I see here, if we go and edit here, you can show, oh, I got the output connected, but it's really what's more important is your import. It's going to default with this exclamation point. Don't worry about that. That's just normal. It's just Reason, just complaining, hey, you're doing something funky and weird. I don't like it, but I'm going to go ahead and let it happen anyway. So, this is just awesome. You do this, and I name mine because I have, I'm running this program called, let's see if I can bring it up here. It's called Copperland Manager. And what that does is it allows me to network in different computers with one master MIDI. Now, for example, this computer right here, this is a remote computer sitting on a rack. I have no keyboard or mouse to it, and I'm just remoting into it, but I do have a sound card that comes out with a long line that travels back into my main soundboard, and that's kind of how I hear sound from it. And that's kind of how I do my processing, because I kind of like to separate my DAWs. So say like I want to bring in another DAW, and I don't really care for rewire. It just gets on my nerves, and it just eats up a ton of processing and disables certain features that I like to have, like, hey, VST support. There's sometimes I like to run certain VSTs from, the actual DAW, and rewire will disable that. And it just makes things more cumbersome. And also the cool thing about it is when you run Reason on a different computer and you pipe it into Reaper like I have right here, you're saving on processing power too. So you're actually splitting the processing load. Now, granted, you do have to have a second computer and a second audio card, but I just use one audio input channel. I don't really have to worry about, multiple channels and all that. I'm just using one. Like I use Reason as kind of like its own little mix bus, and I do all my pre-mixing of all my Reason stuff in Reason. Probably do a video about this. Depends on, if someone needs some help with it, but it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. So you got all these done, and you have to actually do these, all 16 of them, one by one. And trust me, it's a little annoying, but once you have it done and have it configured, you're done. You don't ever have to mess with this ever again, unless you have another computer, like I do. And the other thing you want to take note of is I have it separated. Keep them separated. I also don't have anything set as master keyboard. So, and then under my sync, I did use one as a sync. So like right now I have the VMIDI 1 as my sync, and I'll show you why. Like this one is going to be my first instrument, and it's set right up here, just normal. You just drop and drag, it's easy. And then what you do is you just right click on the actual instrument. Don't do the bus, do the actual instrument, and you just say lock to MIDI channel 1 to this device. And then down on this one right here, I go in here, I say lock to MIDI channel 2 to this device. So, hey, by the way, are you a good fan of this stuff right here, the ID8? I like it a lot because the general MIDI in this thing is really nice. And I actually am a really big fan of the piano. I actually like this piano better than I do the Radical piano. Granted, the Radical piano has its purpose, and it has a very softer, warmer tone, but I do like the piano on this one. Anyways, different subject. What I have done here is I've locked 2 different channels. Now here's the real test. Right now I have MIDI channel 1 for everything. So it's like if I play, like if I turn on my red dots here that enables the channel, and then I hit the keyboard, it's going to play both of them at the same time. And I have something down here that's going too. Here we go. So that's cool. Now, how do I know which one's which? So that's easy. So in Reaper, you have this in-out button right up here. And this one, look right up here, the MIDI hardware output. There's a little section in here that's MIDI hardware output. You just go in here, and I have it set for vMIDI1. Remember I told you about how I had that vMIDI1 syncing to the Reason? So that's kind of where I'm going with that. Now, how do you find this vMIDI1? So that's a good question. So like when I go over here, I also have copper LAN, or LAN copper, or whatever you want to call it. I have that, and this is on my main master computer, and you can see that right here, and I have it configured with vMIDI1 and vMIDI8. So you can see vMIDI1 is going there, and vMIDI8 is my Triton Extreme going in there. So that's kind of what I'm doing right there. My only thing that I do not like about this program is there does seem to generate a delay in the response of, like, when I play a piano and I'm playing over the network, there will be a delay. You know, it's a fine balance. Trust me, man. We saw that vMIDI1, vMIDI8. So in options or Control P preferences, you have this thing up here called, where is it? MIDI devices. And in there, it will list all available MIDI devices. And what I do is I only enable, let's go to mode, and I only enable vMIDI1 and vMIDI8. And my output, I don't even think I have it enabled. Well, I do have it. Oh, there's the thing that I wanted to show you. Enabled clock. So what you do is you right click on that and you say send clock to output. So that's kind of where I have my vMIDI1 set. And that's really important. You want to make sure that is set right there, so that way your clock timing and all that will get synced up perfectly with Reason. All right, the next step here is, you know, like I was going back into these little in-out buttons. Just set your output to vMIDI1, and I have my input right here as vMIDI8, which is really my Triton keyboard. If you're using more than one computer, this is perfect. This works amazing. And you just do it like that, and look right here. This one is set differently, so it's set to channel 2. Let's go in here. I got those highlighted, and this right here is my input, my audio input. I have it a line in from the other computer in the input of this sound card. So that, and I made an audio channel for it right here, and that's kind of where I'm going to record my audio. All right, so I kind of have to have that on, and so if I go ahead and I hit play, start out with this one right here, something like that. Let's do Alt L. There we go. You can see the clock rolling right there, and perfect sync right there. I forgot to tell you one more thing, that you gotta make sure that when you do something like this, make sure that your MIDI clock is set from internal to MIDI clock. It just makes things so nice. For example, all right, distorted guitar part, get ambient distorted. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's bring this part in, and let's say, like, all right, I got the MIDI for it, but I don't have anything configured. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna assign it to vMIDI1, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna do it to send to channel 3, and that's all I have to do right there. I just get out of that, and then I just go ahead and, you know, make sure that my vMIDI8 that's my, or it could be your keyboard controller. It doesn't have to be. It's just kind of, I'm just doing things a little bit differently. So, but I put my vMIDI8 right there on channel 1. It's always going to be channel 1, and then I go ahead and I just enable. I don't even have to enable that part. That's only if I want to play it. So that's the only part right there. Or if you want to record something new. So like if you have MIDI coming in, so just, that's FYI. But I do have to enable the input monitoring button right here. Now, just keep in mind, I'm using a theme. It's a very popular theme, and it's called default Kamala 4. Nothing right now is configured for channel 3. So if we go into our Reason and say, all right, we're going to bring in a new instrument. I just got this one the other day, and I am just absolutely freaking in love with this thing. So how come they make up these effed up names? Come on, man. I'm not a freaking Latin Greek. Whatever. Hydronoxia, Nexus or something. Whatever. Okay, I'm, literally challenged with this one. Yeah, right. So we just call it Hydro Workstation is what I'm going to call it. So I'm just going to bring it in right here. All right. And it's going to bring, and it's just created a saw lead. So if we go ahead and we say lock to channel V MIDI 1.3 to this device. So, all right, I went ahead and did that. And if we could double check it, if we go back out, oh, let's solo it. There we go. Maybe they might have something in here for guitar. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a new instrument, so let's go. Yeah, that's good enough. And then, yep, it's playing. And that is on channel 3. Now, what you could do to even clarify, if you're doing a workflow like this, you can even go in here and say, all right, this will be channel 1. Have the little digit in there because it's up to 16. It's a 2-digit number. And I'll do something like this. Do 02. And then, this one right here is going to be my third one. And it's going to be 03. And then on down forth. So wherever you're going to have your MIDI number. So that way you identify, okay, this V MIDI 3. And it just kind of gives you an idea of, all right, what channel it's on. So, and then if we go ahead and we enable the piano and 04. And, I should do something about that white on green right there, but whatever. Can barely see that. I should change the color on that. And track color, set track custom colors. Let's do something a little bit darker so you can see. All right, there, that's better. And we'll name this one 5. So let's just say, hey, like that. And we're not doing tick marks because that takes up too much space. Big sync, FM sync lead. All right, that will work. Let's try that one. All right, and let's go ahead and lock this device to channel 4. And then what else did we need? We needed a pad. So let's go back out into instruments here. I'm going to find a nice pad instrument. I find that this device actually makes a good quick pad. I believe it had a pad in it, some kind of a pad. But however, I want to go back and to use the Hydro Workstation because there is an amazing sounding string pad in this thing. And that's kind of where I want to go with. So if we go in here, and first thing we're going to do is I'll lock this down to 5. And then go in here, in out, and make sure that this goes to 1 and this goes to 5. All right, I got that done. And go ahead and go into here to this 4 and make this go to 1, 4. There we go, 4. 4 is Thor. Hey, 4 is Thor. Wow, man. Wow, that was deep, man. Very deep. Whoa. Should hear something. Oh. It's a little too much for what I wanted, but it's just that the synth is just, and the cool thing about that synth, it was on sale at the Reason shop for $25. It's normally like 100. Sometimes I can't remember what it was even higher at one time when it first came out. I think I remember seeing it go for 200. Really good synth. My main thing with Reason, with some of these rack extensions, is the buttons are hard to see. Well, this one's actually pretty decent because they did a really good job with actually clarifying what you could see on the buttons. But normally an instrument and the buttons are just freaking hard to see. Like, for example, actually this one is a pretty good synth. It's like $9. But I just want to kind of show you something. The buttons. Come on, man. Show some love here with the buttons, man. I'm just... Yeah, it's a nice synth. It really is. I love this thing. It's a sample-based Rompler, and some of the bass sounds that were coming out of this thing were just absolutely just freaking lit up. All right, and in a good way. But on the downside, come on, man, show some love there, man. It's just it's hurting my eyes, and I'm on a 1080p monitor, and I have it very clear, and it's just like they just look like something from, 16-bit days. All right, that's my only gripe with rack extensions. There's another one out there that's really horrible. Oh yeah. I gotta take a detour, and I gotta show you this. Hydro Workstation has a sister out there called Acquous, or Oculus, however you want to call it. Another effed up name. And if we put that on top of here. Now look at this one. Come on, man. Show some love with the buttons, and the design on this thing is just absolutely horrendous. Actually, it's a decent synth with changing the different values. And the thing I like, the reason what sold me on this synth, I can enable different values and pipe them in different channels. And I love doing crap like that. I just think that's really cool. But it is a confusing synth. It really is. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Ambient, heavenly violins. All right, so this is the one I want to use. And we didn't test out the sync lead, so I have no idea what that sounds like. Whatever. All right, so good enough. So let's go ahead and let's kind of just give it a try. See what happens. And I only have one monitor working right now, but if you had two monitors, you could put this in another monitor and mix it. So it's not really a big a deal. So like that. I'll go ahead and just put the sync lead in. That sounds cool. Need some reverb though. Oh, I like that. Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, wow. Sounds good. Let's put the piano in. Yeah. And let's put a little bass in now. A little too much bass. Yeah. And I created another pad, so let's go ahead and put that one in. This is from my Reaper session. And let's do another pad. And another pad. See, there you go. This is why I like doing this stuff. Don't need depression medication. Just do Reason and Reaper. And a little whiskey. That'll make things all better. All right, guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right, guys. This is Brian from Logic Pro Hacks. Remember, my friends, Big Rivy, and Happy New Year.